welcome. My name is Tracy, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Australia. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is day 6 of Christmas in July, and we are making this gorgeous little gingerbread man box. The box measures 3 inches by 6 inches by 1 inch, and it opens at the top, and there's quite a lot of room there for your gifts, your goods, your baked goods, or just some sweets. The front has a gorgeous little tag, which I think looks really pretty. The box is made with the stamp set Labels to Love. We're using this border stamp here, as well as the Merry Christmas, and the Cookie Cutter Christmas we're using for the gingerbread. And I've also brought in my Stitched All Around bundle because we're using this crisscross stitched pattern here. And that is on the belly band, so I don't know how well you'll be able to see that. Can you see that stitched edging there? Which is really sweet detail. The ink pads that we're using today are Early Espresso and Cherry Cobbler. And our ribbons are the double stitched Cherry Cobbler ribbon. Look at all the ink I've got all over me. And we're also using the mini sequin trim in the silver. To make the box, we have a piece of crumb cake which measures 9 inches by 8 1/4 inch. We have a piece of cherry cobbler for the belly band, which is 9 inches by 2 inches. Another piece of cherry cobbler, 3 inches by 2 1/4 inches, and a piece of whisper white, which is 3 inches by 3 inches. All the measurements and supplies can be found on my blog, and it's in the description of this video. You can see the link to my blog, as well as a link to my online store where you can purchase all your Stampin' Up supplies. There is a Hostess code, so if you're popping in your order, if you pop in that Hostess code as well, I'll send you out a free gift. So we're going to start off with the piece of crumb cake. Because our gingerbread man stamp is photopolymer, so hair on there, we have to use the foam mat. So I'll bring that one in, just because there's no cushioning of the stamp. And we're going to use the Early Espresso, and I'm just going to randomly stamp all the way around the piece of crumb cake. So I'm going to fast forward this through. Just remember, when you're randomly stamping, you're turning your block around as you stamp. Okay, so now we're going to bring in our stamping trimmer, because we're going to do all the scoring for the box. So I'm going to get rid of my cutting blade right down to the bottom, and on the 8 1/4 inch side, we're going to start with that one first, and I'm going to score it at 1/4. Because that's right on the edge there, I'm just going to turn it all the way around, so now our 1/4 inch score line is right here. The next one is going to be 1 1/4. And 7 1/2, no, 7 1/4, sorry, 7 1/4. We're going to swing it to the 9 inch side. And our first score line is at 1 inch, so I'm going to do that on the right hand side again. I'm turning that over so we have the 1 inch over here now. So 1 inch, 2 inch, 5 inch, and 6 inches. There we go. So I've got my bone folder, and I'm just going to, all those score lines, I'm just going to burnish with the bone folder. Okay. So bringing my snips in, We have the smallest score line here, which is going to be our tab for our box. That's what we're gluing down to. On the bottom, where there's just the one score line, that was the 7 1/4 inch, we're going to take that corner off just there. Okay, and then we're going to cut up right up to that 7 1/4 inch score line. Now these are our tabs here, so we're just going to notch those ones in so when we put the box together it just fits a little bit better. Okay. So where we've taken this one off on the bottom of the tab, we're actually going to take the small rectangle and the larger square. Take both of those two off on that end. Okay, and on our tab we're just going to notch those tabs in so the box goes together that little bit better as well. Okay, so then we're going to cut up to that second score line there on these 3 pieces just here. So I'll cut all the way up. So these two here are our tabs again. We're just going to take off that small rectangle on the ends here. Take those ones off and we're going to also notch those ones in. So the tabs here is again, the biggest one closest to that tab, we're going to leave that completely, but we're going to take this one off. So right down to that second score line, we're going to take that off. So it's the one opposite our tab that we're gluing down the box with. And this is what we're left with the box. So I might just try and pull that out a little bit. There we go. Now to pop this together, we're just going to turn it over, and where that tab is, that's where we're going to stick our glue, and I'm using the Tombow Mono glue. Just going to put a little bit of glue all the way down. And lining these score lines up with the edge of that box there on either side. And you can also fold that down to press that together. Beautiful. Where those two pieces meet, that is the back of the box. And this is our top of our box. So this is our front of our box where the big tab is here. So this one here down the bottom, that's the one you're going to glue down last. So I'm going to pop my tabs in, just chuck a little bit of glue down there, close the bottom one, and putting some glue on this one as well, gluing that down. So effectively all your edges are shown at the back, not at the front. Just makes it that much neater of a box. So if I pop the bone folder down, and we're just going to squish it down just to make sure it glues properly. Now if you have a corner rounder, it is good to corner rounder these edges here. So there's a corner rounder punch, or you can use the envelope punch board. There we go, so we've just cornered those in. And there's our box. So now we're going to bring in our big shot and we're going to do the stitched edging to our belly band. So I have my belly band here. And the edging is right along the edge. So I'm just going to line that up with the edge of the cardstock and running that through. Just going to line this one up as well. And I'll fast forward because I'll do the other side of that belly band as well. How great is that detail? Can you see that? Great. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring it to the back. So this is the back of the box. I'm going to stick it in the middle. I'm just going to wrap it around and just mark those edges. There we go. So now I'm going to use the bone folder just to crease those edges really well. And make sure these are all lined up so it's straight. Okay. So there's a little bit left over there, so I'm just going to cut up so it's sort of more in the middle, so our tag's going to cover straight over the top. So I'll just bring in my scissors and cut off that little bit. There we go. A little bit of Tombow glue. Because this is not going to be slipped on and off, it can be nice and tight. It doesn't have to be that little bit looser. If you're planning on taking it on and off all the time, it'd have to be a lot looser. But we don't want it to move around. So that's our belly band. Also going to bring in the double stitched cherry cobbler ribbon, and I'm just going to lay that around and cut off a piece. I measured it was about 9 inches last time. Let me have a look. Yeah, so just about 9 inches. I'm going to put a glue dot on each end. And you can choose whether you want the double stitched or the crisscross pattern. I'm going to go with the crisscross pattern, so it matches in with the belly band here. Popping that in the middle there. And another one on the end there. Great, just like that. We're finished with this for the time being, so we're going to put that off to the side. We're going to make this tag now. I'm just going to bring my foam board in. We don't really need it because we have the clear rubber stamps, but I'm just going to use it anyway. So on the piece of Whisper White, we're going to stamp the Merry Christmas stamp with the cherry cobbler. Just like that. And then I'm going to clean this off because we're going to heat emboss the silver, but I'm going to bring in the punch and punch that out. that's ready to go. Because we are heat embossing, I am going to bring in my embossing buddy and the Versamark ink. I'm going to stamp this stamp in the Versamark because we just need the Merry Christmas. So lining that sort of up. There we go. Sticking my hands in ink pads everywhere today. So I have my silver embossing powder. Move that to the side because we're going to do the cherry cobbler, inking up the border punch with Versamark again. We better use the embossing buddy, shouldn't we? There we go. Stamping that one down. Covering that with the embossing powder as well. I obviously pushed down too hard because you can see I've got the edge and I've got the middle, so let's get rid of that. Okay. So we have our two pieces here. I'm just going to heat them up with the heat tool and I'll be back. Okay, so these two have been heat embossed. I'm going to punch this one out with that punch again. I'm also going to pop this one in because I only want the Merry Christmas. I'm going to line it up just under those Christmas trees, so it cuts out just at the Mary. Let's see whether I can pop that in again and see whether I can pump that out as well. See if I can be coordinated enough. I think that looks good. That actually turned out quite well, didn't it? Okay, so using the snips, I'm just going to cut up right next to the C and the S for Christmas. Oh, and you know what? We don't need this bit here, so we want to be right under Christmas as well. So I'm just going to cut there we go. So you can just use your snips for that as well. You don't have to use the punch. So I'm going to glue this piece to my cherry cobbler piece with my Tombow glue. Let's get this. So just in the middle like that. I'm going to chuck some dimensionals on the back of that Merry Christmas. I'm also going to bring in the mini sequin trim and I'm just going to cut off a little bit. Stick a glue dot to those and stick it to the back of the tag there. Excellent. So bring the box back in. I'm also going to stick some dimensionals on the back here. I'm popping that down onto my box. that holds my seam of my belly band. Oh, push that down a little hard. Okay, so there's the 2 boxes. I think they turned out quite cute. What do you think? Love it if you left me a comment, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't. As I said, this is day 6, so if you haven't seen any of my series before, just click in my videos and you'll be able to see 1 through to 5. And I hope you've enjoyed this one. So until tomorrow, see you later.